And we can exhale until Sunday, where our butts are going to be clinched again in that must-win game against Panama, because after this game between the U.S. versus Mexico of what could be the last crucial World Cup qualifying game at the Azteca of this historic rivalry that ended 0-0, and also Costa Rica getting a 1-0 win against Canada, and then Panama getting a surprising 1-1 draw against Honduras at home. The scenario for the U.S. to qualify for the World Cup pretty much has been unchanged. I mean, they still have to get that must-win game against Panama on Sunday down in Orlando, and hope that when they do go to Costa Rica for that final World Cup qualifying game, they can get a draw out of that one to make sure they secure the top 3 spot in the CONCACAF World Cup qualifying standing to go to Qatar in November. But in terms of this game itself, well, normally when the U.S. gets a 0-0 draw or get a tie out of the Azteca against Mexico, it's always a great result. But you got to say that this is got to be a huge disappointment. And in some way, the U.S. should have won this game against Mexico. I mean, there were not only some missed chances that the U.S. has had in this game, but these missed chances, especially 2 big moments in this game that could have given the U.S. a 1-0 lead in this one. These 2 moments, if the U.S. does not qualify for the World Cup by the end of this World Cup qualifying window, it's going to look upon as those 2 moments as one of the main reasons why the U.S. didn't make it to Qatar. And we'll definitely talk about those 2 moments of the reason why the U.S. weren't able to win this game and has to settle for a 0-0 draw. But first, let's talk about the starting 11, because the starting 11 coming into this game, the talking point was huge about it. Like, I was listening to the Extra Time Radio podcast and also the Total Soccer Show podcast before watching this game, and I think about 60% of the show, they were dedicated about talking about the starting 11 of debating whether or not if Greg Berhalter is going to start the strongest team in this game against Mexico or go for a B team. And at the end of the day, it seems like Greg Berhalter decided to start the strongest team as Zach Steffen, DeAndre Yedlin, Walker Zimmerman, Miles Robinson, Anthony Robinson, also known as Jedi Robinson, Tyler Adams, Jonas Musa, Kellen Acosta, Tim Wade, Ricardo Pepi, and Christian Pulisic was starting in this game. And that, I know there was a lot of mixed reaction when the starting 11 was announced, and I was kind of expect there was going to be a mixed reaction, because I know there is going to be some people over here that say that, well, the U.S. are basically putting their starting 11 and putting their eggs in one basket in this one, not knowing the fact that if it doesn't work out, then all of a sudden they have tired legs heading into that game against Panama, and it's especially extreme tired leg in that game against Costa Rica, and that things are not going to go well. But then there's also the other side of it, where people are going to say, well, if the U.S. decided to just kind of punt this game away, then now you basically put yourself in a huge pressure cooker situation in the game against Panama, and also on the road against Costa Rica, where you basically, at minimum, have to get 4 points in terms of those 2 results. And even though I am kind of confident that the U.S. can get a result against Panama, though, I will say that I was confident before this game. Now not so much, because there was some players on this team that unfortunately got a yellow card, which means that they are going to be suspended for that Panama game. That, yeah, the U.S. are going to be dearly missing them heading into the next one. But also the fact that I was definitely not confident in terms of that game against Costa Rica on the road, because the U.S. historically have not done well against Costa Rica in the World Cup qualifying window. So, yeah, I mean, overall for me, I'm just thinking that, let's just see how this game, of course, will play out. And that, especially knowing the fact that I feel like after both of these teams know that both Panama and Honduras got a 1-1 draw in that one, seems like maybe both teams was just kind of settled for a 0-0 draw. And especially for Mexico too, because they know that if they can get a draw out of this game, and knowing they have 2 relatively easy opponent to finish off World Cup qualifying window, they pretty much are almost guaranteeing themselves in the top 3. Whereas for the U.S., it kind of doesn't change anything with the way that they still have to have a must-win game against Panama, but at least it did give them a little bit of a buffer where, the only way maybe the U.S. of course would miss the World Cup is that if they just lose like every single game, and then the other resort doesn't go in favor of them, and or maybe I would say in some way, the worst case scenario is what we saw in 2017, which I know a lot of people have brought up that situation in 2017 where literally the worst case scenario happened for the U.S. But I'm just trying not to say that it's going to happen again because surely it's not going to happen for the second time where literally everything goes against the U.S. and the U.S. also doesn't take care of their business, and that's why the U.S. weren't able to make it to the World Cup for the second consecutive time. Though that being said, I say that, and then look what we saw in the Euros qualifier where we saw Italy got themselves missing the World Cup for the second consecutive time after they lost to North Macedonia. But anyway, let's not talk about that because the more I talk about that, the more that I fear that could of course happen. But let's also kind of just talk about this game itself, and that in the first half, and I didn't write this, but I thought early on the U.S. kind of looked good in a way where they were doing a good job in terms of pressing Mexico and was kind of limiting any chances for Mexico to try to get off to a good start in this one. Though Stefan did have to make a save on Manes, who tried to head that one in before there was the first big opportunity in the 14th minute when Ochoa had to deny Musa from close range. I mean, Musa put that one very well on the right side of the post, but Ochoa make a big save there to deny the U.S. and early in this one. Then in the 21st minute, we saw a pretty CONCACAF kind of moment where Alvarez basically clotheslined Pulisic to the ground and only gets a yellow card for that. I mean, that sounds about right in terms of the CONCACAF kind of tournament where it doesn't matter if you try to clothesline a player or even trying to choke a player on a play, you're not going to usually get a red card. And that, I know I've said before that I definitely get frustrated about that, but if you have not watched enough World Cup qualifying game or even enough CONCACAF Champions League game, then yeah, you don't know the real pain, or well, I wouldn't say the real pain, but kind of the schadenfreude in terms of seeing something that it will definitely be a red card in any other game, but unfortunately in the CONCACAF level and with the way how the refereeing is in a CONCACAF game, yeah, you know there's going to be these calls that is going to, it's going to take like something really extreme for a referee to basically give a red card to an opposition, or at least a straight red to the opposition. Though I will say that there was actually one incident late in this game where we actually saw a very un-CONCACAF kind of moment that the referee of course called in this one, and of course I'll definitely get to that as we go through this review. But after that kind of CONCACAF moment, we got Acosta trying to go for a goal and give the U.S. The opening lead, but he hits one straight to Ochoa. I thought Mexico was controlling the possession while the U.S. they were just happy to sit back and look to counter, which is something I've seen with the U.S. did in terms of these last couple of World Cup qualifying game, where they kind of just happy to maybe sit back and trying to counter and look to trying to expose that Mexican defense, which there were times where they were successful to do. I mean, I thought the Mexican defense in this one, they definitely had some scary moments in this one, and one of those scary moments came in the 34th minute, and this also was one of the two moments that I mentioned that the U.S. are going to look back of the reason why they didn't win this game, because Ochoa, while he absolutely robbed Pulisic, who missed a sitter from 5 yards out, Pulisic should have scored that. Like, that was literally right there on a silver plate for him to basically hits it into the back of the net, and yet he just hits it straight to Ochoa. I mean, that is definitely a very painful moment to see, and that, I was also getting close to say that, yeah, that is going to be a moment that I think the U.S. is going to regret, and it's going to count the U.S. back. But like I said, there was going to be another big moment in this game that the U.S. are also thinking of how in the world did we not score and get the opening goal in this one. But 4 minutes later, Wei got a yellow card after there was a scuffle for both of these teams. Now, I believe he actually got the yellow card on a foul that kind of led to a bit of a scuffle. By the way, there wasn't actually a lot of heated moment in this game, and for a U.S. versus Mexico game where you usually see like some heated moment between both of these teams, we didn't really see a lot of that. And I guess maybe a lot of that has to do with a lot of these players knowing that they're already on a yellow card and that they don't want to get another yellow card, knowing that they're going to be suspended in the next game. That's why maybe things were a little bit more calmer. But yeah, this is definitely they just kind of a disappointing moment, and that again, Tim Way, he didn't get a yellow card due to the scuffle, but it's more like he got the yellow card because of a foul that he committed, and you can question whether or not if that was a yellow or not, but that was one of the things that was the biggest gamble for Greg Berhalter, putting a team that not only is the strongest team, but also guys that is on yellow card that could be missing the next game if they do get another yellow card. And that, yeah, now it's going to be interesting to see how the U.S. is going to do in the next game, because Tim Way, although he did not have a good game in this one, he has definitely been great in the World Cup qualifying for the U.S., especially at home. I mean, he's been able to score some crucial goal in terms of these World Cup qualifying game. And yeah, I mean, missing his presence in that must-win game against Panama is definitely going to hurt this team, especially going forward when this team absolutely need to score if they are able to get all 3 points against Panama in that must-win game. Lozano then puts it over the bar from long range in the 40th minute. I thought Tricky Lozano had a couple of opportunity in this one, but he wasn't able to put it on target. Way then puts it over the bar from close range in the 41st minute as we head to halftime scoreless between the U.S. and Mexico. Now, in the second half, Ochoa was able to deny Pulisic in the near post, and despite it was a promising start from the U.S., I finally just kind of had to write down that these missed chances is going to come back to haunt the U.S. with the way that I've seen this before, where the U.S. missed some chances that could have maybe give them the lead or give them the tie, and yeah, that was going to come back to haunt them in a way where they end up getting nothing out of this game. Lozano then tried to curl one in, but that one goes high in the 56th minute. I thought Mexico started to put some pressure on the U.S. I mean, Mexico didn't really put a lot of pressure in the first half. They definitely started to do in the second half, because they realized that, yeah, with the U.S. missing those chances, maybe they can steal one. Well, I wouldn't say steal one, because I think that would be harsh in terms of talk about Mexico, but maybe they can of course get one and really put the U.S. behind the 8 ball. Lozano tried to do that in the 59th minute, but he hits one straight to Stefan. There was a shout for a penalty after Raul Jimenez thought that he was brought down in the box. Yeah, no, he was not brought down in the box. Like, maybe you could maybe argue that maybe Zimmerman kind of got a slight tuck of the jersey of Jimenez, but it was pretty clear that when you see on the replay, besides that little tug that maybe Zimmerman got on Raul Jimenez, Jimenez clearly died. And little do we know that later on she would try to do the same thing, and that's also when I'll get to talk about a very un-CONCACAF kind of moment that the referee did. Now, in the 71st minute, this was the second moment of this game where the U.S. are going to look back as the reason why they weren't able to get a win, because Jordan Pefok, who a lot of people have hyped him as the guy that is going to be the goal scorer because he's been in such a good form in the Swiss League, and yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say. This was a Kyoto level of a sitter. For those of you that don't watch my video or don't follow MLS, the reason why I say this is a Kyoto level of sitter is that I will never forget that miss that Kyoto had in that game, that Montreal play. I forgot who were they playing. I think it was Toronto that they were playing, but he literally missed a sitter from like 1 yard out. And although this one wasn't exactly the same, I mean, this was one where, Gio Reyna, he actually pulls this one back so that Pefok can basically hits it into the empty net. And the fact that not only Pefok did not able to put this one away, but he put it wide. And you can definitely see the agony in Gio Reyna's face. Like, he not only the fact that he must be in disbelief that he didn't get an assist, but you can even see that he was very angry the fact that Pefok missed that, because that was literally there for the U.S. to get the opening goal. But unfortunately, that one, of course was missed, and that, I have a feeling at the end of this game, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to be slating Jordan Pefok, which, I know that miss, of course, is bad, and that I will say that if there is a defense that I will give to Jordan Pefok, this is really the first crucial game that he's playing for the U.S., and that I feel like maybe the moment was a little bit too big for him, and that I even wrote that after Pefok basically heads one into Rose in the 74th minute, he just kind of looked scared out there. Like it just feels like maybe the moment is too big for him. And when you're a guy that aren't a regular for the U.S. and you're basically step into to basically provide a crucial moment for the team, I mean the pressure is going to get to him, and I feel like the pressure kind of got to him, which is why I feel like maybe in the next game we're probably not going to see him out there in that must-win game against Panama, and maybe put in a guy that is more of a veteran present for the U.S. and a guy maybe like Jordan Morris in that spot, or even Jesus Ferreira, who has been in such a good form in the club level, especially coming off of that hat trick against Portland. I think he's probably going to be in there as the false nine. Now Lozano then blasted high in the 79th minute. The ref, I thought it seemed like he just basically decided to swallow the whistle, and almost as a fan in this game, because he was basically calling nothing at the end, and I wouldn't blame him, because I mean, you don't want to call a very controversial call that is going to affect what is a very high stake game in this game between the U.S. and Mexico. But also, I have a feeling that he's trying his best to not call anything, because I talk about how for these U.S. player heading into this game, playing in front of that hostile crowd at the Azteca, it's definitely not comfortable. But you gotta also think about the ref too. Like this is not an easy job for him to have to face a very hostile crowd that maybe can affect some of the decision that he of course made. But it seems like he decided to just kind of choose the latter kind of option, which is just, you know what, I'm just not gonna call anything. I'm just gonna let how this game is, and hope that this game of course don't get out of control. Although in the 82nd minute there was almost a disastrous moment where there was an own goal that almost happened, and I think it was Long, the one that almost scored an own goal, but it was actually clear off the line, though that one actually hits right to Lozano, who's trying to put it on target, but he puts that one wide. And as the time kind of winds down, I thought the U.S. looked sloppy in possession, and Mexico, they were looking to try to press for the winner. Though in the 90th minute, this was kind of a moment for a second that it must have stopped the hearts of many U.S. fans when Lozano looked like he was brought down in the box and the referee was going to call a penalty. But instead of calling a penalty, he reached a yellow card to Chucky Lozano for simulation. And this is also the moment I said before how, yeah, this is a very un-CONCACAF kind of call where, I don't think I've ever seen in a CONCACAF game where the referee would book a player for simulation, let alone seeing in this game where I even wrote that's a real gutsy call by the referee, because imagine trying to make that call in front of a hostile crowd at the Azteca. Yeah, that definitely is not one that I think any referee would have made in terms of that situation. So you got to give credit to the referee there. He of course decided to do the right thing and call for simulation, and that or give Lozano a yellow card for simulation. But at the same time, I have a feeling some of the CONCACAF refereeing officials are probably not happy that of course is the case. But even though of course it is the right call at the end of the day, but either way, it ended 0-0 in this game, and the shots in this one, 9 shots for the 11 that Mexico has, 4 shots on goal for the 2 that Mexico has, 7 shots off target for the 5 that Mexico has, 2 shots that was blocked for the none that Mexico has, and possession-wise, 63% possession compared to 37% possession that Mexico has in this game. And like I said, the U.S. should have won this game. I mean, those 2 big moments that they had in this game that could have given them the 1 goal to get a historic 3 point against Mexico at the Azteca. I'm just hoping that's not going to come back to haunt this team. And again, that next game against Panama, let's just hope that things are going to be different in a way where they can actually score a goal, because at the end of the day they need to win that game, and the only way to win that game is to score a goal. And this is if they're going to miss their most important attacker in Tim Weah. Though I will say that a guy that really impressed me for the U.S. on the attack in this game has to be Gio Reyna. I mean, Gio Reyna, I've said before that I thought he wasn't going to be available in this game, but then I found out after I'd done that News of the Week episode that he actually was available, and he did come off the bench in this one. And there was actually one moment where he almost tried to do a Diego Maradona kind kind of goal of the century, where he basically just took on the entire Mexican defense. And honestly, if he would have scored that goal, like, I'm pretty sure only everybody's gonna be vow of that moment, but Twitter is gonna blow up when they shared that moment as just an incredible a goal that I don't think anybody thought that it was going to happen. But like I said, that of course didn't happen. And also, I don't blame that Gio Reyna decided to stop passing the ball, because he did try to set up his teammate there, and his teammate just completely missed that one. And that I'm pretty sure that he basically trusts no one after that. He just wants to take it for himself, and that he's gonna just trying to put the attack behind his back, and that we definitely will need to see that kind of performance in that game against Panama, because I have a feeling if he can perform like that against Panama, there's no doubt the U.S. are going to score a goal in that one and get that crucial 3 points. But let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this game between the U.S. and Mexico? And like I said, we'll see how Sunday is going to be. I mean, everybody is going to be nervous about that game, but we'll just hope for the best, and also hope that maybe there's going to be some help that is going to be relied from other team, because again, unfortunately Canada wasn't able to help the U.S. out after losing that game against Costa Rica. But in some way, you can say Honduras kind of helped a little bit and play a little bit of spoiler in terms of getting a 1-1 draw against Panama on the road. But again, the bottom line for the U.S. here is that they need to win against Panama and hope to get a draw against Costa Rica, so that they can be in that top 3 spot to qualify for the World Cup in Qatar. But either way, like I said, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys see a like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.